Hey there, and thanks for joining us on Chicago Tonight, Black Voices. I'm Brandis Friedman. On the show tonight, following this month's damaging floods on the city's south and west sides, we uncover what relief is available for flooding victims. His lynching galvanized the civil rights movement, and now Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till-Mobley, will be remembered with a national monument. 3 local journalists shared their insights on how local news covers crime and how those portrayals impact communities.
We deserve something precious for our skin.
And a Southside couple is cleaning their neighborhood one load at a time with help from their new plant-based detergent. All that coming up, but our first story tonight, support for residents who are still recovering from this month's historic rain and flooding, right after this.
Chicago Tonight, Black Voices is made possible in part by Fifth Third Bank and by the support of these donors.
At Fifth Third, we believe when diverse voices are heard and empowered, communities are made stronger, lives are made better, and the future holds greater promise for all. That's why we're proud to support Chicago Tonight Black Voices. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can drive change.
Westsiders were particularly hard hit by flooding nearly a month ago. More than 8 inches of rain flooded basements, ruining people's belongings. Both the federal and Illinois emergency management agencies have been surveying the damage this week to find out what kind of relief neighbors need. Joining us now with more are G2 Brown, a resident in the city's Austin neighborhood and board president of the Kenwood-Oakland Community Organization, Alderwoman Emma Mitz of the 37th Ward on Chicago's West Side, and Stephen Robinson, executive director of Northwest Austin Council and also a resident of Austin. Thanks to the 3 of you for joining us. Stephen Robinson, let's start with you, please. We spoke with you sometime shortly after the flooding. Weeks later is where we are now. How would you describe the recovery?
Well, I would actually describe it as a slow-moving train at this point. I mean, there's so many things that still need to be done. We understand that FEMA has hit the ground, but I honestly believe that 3 branches of, or the 3 legislators branches of the state, meaning the county, the city, and the state, can still come with funds to support the people that need some remediation and some help.
Alderwoman Mitz, you have been out and about with IEMA and FEMA, state and federal emergency management associations. Walk us through what residents need to know about that process.
Well, right now the process is that today, as of today, they have the numbers that they need to present to the governor and to the president. They should have all that wrapped up as about Friday next week. And then we should be able to hear, and everybody would know, media outlets would know that the president gave the declaration. And then we'll go up with, start learning where the location to go to file the application. It would be from the time the president give his declaration. We have 60 days for individuals to be able to go to the location that we learn of at the time. So we got to wait until the president declared, then we'll learn of the location, and then we'll be able to further instruct the constituents as to where they need to go to apply.
And Alderwoman, what have you been hearing from neighbors in your ward?
I have to echo the sentiment of Steve that that process is being a little slow. They kind of being misinformed and information. They thought when the governor first declared it, that means they was going to get the money in, and that was just a process to which to allow FEMA to come in. And I hear the word process all through this. So now we're at a process where they have the numbers, but we got to wait now until that information go back to both the governor and the president. So then we'll have another process that we need to go to in order to go through the claims. But there are some things that FEMA is going to be doing, as well as SBA. Individuals who are homeowners in a home basement flood, they call that an individual application. And then the other one, non-for-profits such as churches and business, will probably need to work with
Probably a
SBA,
different
and if they
application for
need to,
them.
they'll send them to FEMA.
So it sounds like a lot of processes. G2 Brown, I want to get
A
you in
lot
here.
of processes.
Right. So G2 Brown, you and others on your block, you actually did interact with with FEMA this week. What was that like?
Well, I think that people were, they felt, seen. While it definitely has moved slow, I think people were really eager to share with the IEMA and FEMA representatives the devastation that they incurred. So I know that Alderman Mitts, along with the IEMA and FEMA representatives, came on our block. Our block club is called 1,000 Strong. Our residents came out, and basically they would interview folks. They would ask them, is it a single family residence or a multi-family residence? Did anyone live in the basement? How much water did you get? Did you have electrical outlets that were damaged? What did you lose? And then they saw pictures. And I think it's important to note that there are still literally thousands of people who have mold in their basements because this process has moved so slow.
And that's the one thing. That's the one thing, Mr. Brown, that I asked him today. We need support in cleanup. And what is the city, state, and who can get that to us? Because we don't have enough, and people still have the mold in their home.
From what I understand, they've recommended that people not wait before you clean up. Don't wait on the federal or state government to come through with whatever funding might be down the road before you start cleaning up, because G2 Brown, as you said, the mold and can fester.
But Brandis, if you're an 80-year-old senior and you live in a basement apartment, you can't move couches. You understand that there are a number of people who aren't physically able. So what we're doing, and I want to send a shout out to the Westside Health Authority as well as the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization. We're organizing teams to go in basements and carry stuff out. But even that is risky now because the mold has settled. So, but it is necessary. So in addition to us giving out cleaning supplies every Monday, we've been, trying to do whatever we can, following the edict that we are the leaders we've been waiting for. We have to be there for our folk in this moment. So,
right. Well, I just want to say, I know that you and some other community members, as you said, you've been supplying residents with some cleaning supplies and doing some community-led cleanup efforts because, as you said, some residents aren't physically able to start doing that cleanup. Stephen, what do you hope people get out of the state and federal relief that is hopefully for you all down the road?
Well, a couple of things. One, that they can become whole again. I just had a gentleman today say that his hot water tank went out again. He tried to get it started, so that's pretty much a wash for him. And secondly, there has to be some type of task force that comes together that can figure out going forward how to stop this from happening. Whether it be valves, which the alderman and I had talked about previously, but something has to be put in place in front of these homes to prevent this water from coming back in. And
this is not our first flood. This is not our first flood. Right. And the water rose, Brandis. It went down. When it rose the first time, what would y'all say? We got about 2 feet. Then it went down, and then when it came back, it was in some cases 4 feet of water in your basement. So I just wanted to speak in support of what Brother Stephen was saying.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you.
We definitely need to have in place to settle all of this going forward. I mean, with global warming and the way things are going with this heat and the oceans are warming, you're going to see more things happen. And I just want to say, I talked to Congressman Davis. I was hoping to hear hoping to hear from him later today to find out more from what's going on in D.C. because he actually talked to the president this week so that we can figure out if we're going to be moving faster with FEMA, getting some locations in place to actually, sites to have people go in and get their information taken and get some funding for them. They really need the funding.
Okay, so we'll have to leave it there. Obviously, sorry, we're fresh out of time, but obviously this is something that we hope to hear from the three of you on again in the future as we follow this to see what kind of relief should come your way. In the meantime, my thanks to Stephen Robinson, G2 Brown, and Alderman Emmett Till.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The story of Emmett Till and his brutal 1955 murder is now cemented in American history. President Joe Biden signed a proclamation this week to honor the Chicago teenager and his mother, Mamie Till-Mobley, with a national monument located across 3 sites in 2 states. The proclamation comes decades after Till-Mobley wrote to then President Dwight D. Eisenhower pleading for justice for her son when he was lynched. She never received a response.
We fast forward to today, and we have a president and a vice president who are sensitive to not only the traumatic memory of this family, this Till family, but also what it means to send a message from the highest office in the land about what we value in this country. We value life, we value all life, and I think it's a powerful statement that's being made now. Does it make up for the loss of Mamie Till-Mobley? No. Does it make up for the pain that the family has suffered all this time? No. But it does encourage us that we can keep fighting the good fight and making things happen. It's interesting to look at the dedication of a national monument, and particularly the dedication of several national monuments in recognition of the sacrifice that started with the exposure of the torture and lynching of Emmett Till that sparked the civil rights movement. It's important to consider that statement. It's also important to consider the lessons. Nobody will be able to walk the grounds of these monuments and not think about what they mean now, what they meant in 1955, and what they mean in terms of challenging us to move the country forward. In thinking about that, there's a lesson, right? And in that lesson, we have to recognize that these monuments are texts of a story that will continue to be told for generations, a story that can't be censored, it can't be banned, it can't be erased.
And as we mentioned earlier, the Emmett Till and Mamie Till-Mobley National Monument is located across 3 sites in 2 states. The Chicago site is, of course, Robert's Temple Church of God in Christ, where Till's funeral was held. The other 2 sites are in Mississippi, Graball Landing, where it's believed Till's body was found, and the courthouse in Tallahatchie County, where his killers were tried but never convicted. Up next, how media outlets contribute to perceptions of violence and the impact it has on the public. Stay with us. Looking at the role of the media and the perception of violent crime in the city. It's a discussion we had on Monday as part of our Safer City reporting. So is violent crime really out of control, or are media outlets disproportionately impacting our perception of it? Paris Schutt spoke with Morgan Elise Johnson, co-founder and publisher of The Tribe, a digital media platform reporting on the experiences of Black Chicagoans, Charles Whitaker, dean and professor at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism, and recently retired CBS 2 anchor and reporter Derek Blakely, who now writes for the Center for Illinois Politics website. Paris began by asking Whitaker whether he thinks media gives an accurate or distorted picture of violent crime.
I don't know that they are distorting it, but as was said in the earlier piece, they're not providing any context, right? We are still prisoners to our conventions of storytelling, which is if it bleeds, it leads. We know that that gets eyeballs, and we still are also trapped by the constraints of our formats, the 30-minute newscast, which doesn't allow us to provide the time and the context, the ability to explore how and why we have the crime that we have. I don't know that we're necessarily hyping the violence. The violence is there, but we're not providing a full picture.
Derek Blakely, you spent many, many years in local newsroom and national newsroom talking about that if it bleeds, it leads strategy, focusing on violent crimes and homicide. What about your thoughts on how that is impacting the public's perception of safety in Chicago neighborhoods?
Well, I think if you take a historical perspective, it shines some light on this. You know, there was certainly an increase in crime during the George Floyd uprising and during the pandemic. That was real. But the crime is out of control narrative is skewed. Most people don't realize that, you know, Chicago had its record number of murders during Mayor Daley 1 in 1974 and Mayor Daley 2 in 1992, and no one was saying crime is out of control then. We have a sharper lens, and by the way, during those 2 years, something like 200 more people were murdered in Chicago.
It was approaching 1,000.
Yes, than were murdered last year.
Right.
So it's important to realize that. I think this started before the pandemic, and actually was led by, I think, the newspapers. I remember the Tribune started, in particular, started recording a weekend murder tally and weekly murder tallies, and in a way they hadn't before. And that that increased people's perception that crime was definitely a bigger problem, perhaps, than it was.
It doesn't seem like an editorial shift to start focusing on weekend crime, as you say, or individual crime like that. Morgan Elise Johnson, speaking of what Derek said, there's a Trib op-ed that cites that violent crime before the pandemic was about 1/3 of what it was in the 90s. So again, this perception, this skewed perception, how does that impact the communities that are at the center of this?
Well, I would say that the news media does a lot to shape the attitudes and public perception of crime and safety. And even as the media has a role in defining what crime is, right? The crime beat mostly follows shootings, homicides, and property theft. But there are so many ways that people break the law, right? But those types of crimes affect a certain demographic of people. And then it also helps to shape what we think as like public safety issues and what our societal priorities should be. So I think that the media has a huge responsibility in like choosing the stories that we see that they're not really taking responsibility for.
Well, Charles Whitaker, in that 30-minute time frame, how can a local TV newscast do a better job than providing context and not just spot reporting on individual crimes?
I think you have to have the courage of your conviction to do just that, to actually have moments in time where we will sort of take a historical perspective. As Derek said, there was a time when the murder rate was far higher than it is now. We need that perspective today. We need, as Morgan said, to get a sense of crime holistically and not just those most sensational crimes that kind of lead us all to believe that we're living in this dystopian hellscape.
Derek, all your years in local TV, were you ever frustrated with your news directors or management in terms of what their approach was to covering crime and just the constant spot news reporting?
Well, I can't tell you how many times I had to knock on the door of a family of a murder victim. That is not pleasant, to try to talk to them. What I tried to do was to convince them that I was going to tell the story of the person in their family who had been lost, with integrity and with sensitivity, and to make them into a human being, not a statistic. But I think what newsrooms need to do probably is focus on fewer crimes and more intentionally decide what they cover. And ask themselves the question, what light is this going to shine on the greater problem, this particular crime, reporting on this particular crime? There have been, some improvements. We don't do perp walks anymore, and there's less use of mugshots in low-level crimes.
Especially if it's younger offenders.
Exactly. But another improvement that can be made is, in some places, newsrooms are committing to cover a crime from beginning to end. If they make a decision in the beginning to cover it, then they cover it through the trial and the process. Now, that's a big commitment because that can be a long process, especially in Cook County where murder trials drag on for years, as the Tribune has highlighted recently. But if you don't do that, if there's an acquittal, if a conviction is overturned, then the person who has been identified as a suspect never ultimately gets that story told either, if you don't follow the case to the conclusion.
And that could impact the rest of their lives. Morgan Elise Johnson, one of the things that you've said before is that you believe local media kind of runs with the police narrative of things when it comes to crimes. Can you just expound on that? Because this was a big issue that came up in the Laquan McDonald case.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, breaking news reporting relies heavily on the police to set narrative. We get the press release from the police, or we attend a press conference, and then we regurgitate that information to the public. But, you know, the CPD has a consent decree because they violated the civil rights of Black residents. So how can we say that crime news storytelling is impartial if we're relying so heavily on an anti-Black institution?
In the Laquan McDonald case, I mean, a lot of media organizations had to take a look in the mirror because the police would offer sort of a spokesperson right on the scene there, and a lot of times media would kind of run with the facts that they provided. So that's something that I think that the news media has been working on. Charles Whitaker, you heard those young people say they don't watch the local news, they don't really trust newspapers or TV anymore. How to change that?
Again, we have to change the way we do business. That's a crisis for the industry. It's a crisis for us to lose this generation of people who say that they are turning off and tuning out on news. That means they're not hearing a lot of vital information because they're so turned off by the depictions of themselves that they're seeing. We've got to do a better job. We've got, as Morgan said, change the narrative.
Very important discussion. We're glad you're here to have it with us. Derek Blakely, Charles Whitaker, Morgan Elise Johnson. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Back with more Chicago Tonight, Black Voices, right after this.
A Southside couple is working to help clean their community one laundry load at a time. And that's with help from their new plant-based detergent. Arts correspondent Angel Ito takes us to Dirty Laundry in Hyde Park.
In Hyde Park, just off 53rd Street, a longtime laundromat is turning loads for the first time in years.
The difference between our detergent and, say, some of the bigger big box brands, we don't have any irritants or colors or...
It is a laundromat.
Right.
That's thanks to Sylvia and Augie Imua.
We do have a plant-based formulation that we wanted to make sure was 100% not harmful to the waterways. So we only use essential oils for fragrance, and we only have plant-derived ingredients.
In 2019, they created Till-Mobley detergent.
It means precious. So when we thought about our product, we said people deserve something precious for their skin.
Fast forward to June 2023, and the Imuas decided they needed a laundromat to showcase their product. And through a partnership with the University of Chicago, the Dirty Laundry pop-up was born.
This is a social and community asset. It's a 65% renter base in this area. So there are a lot of buildings with 40 plus units, and all we have is one laundry area with 2 or 3 machines. This is a little bit of an equity push for the community folks that live in the area.
Now, for a 25-cent portion at the laundromat or a $14.99 32 fluid ounce bottle, washers have options for experimenting with Till-Mobley.
Most people tell us that they don't feel skin irritation because they realize, well, wait a minute, I've been itching, I didn't know why. They say their clothes smell really clean, their clothes are soft, and they love a light, fresh smell. Once they try it, they love it, they'll come back for more.
Now, the Imuas are also working to ensure their communal space extends beyond a load or two by offering a residential DJ, extended Thursday hours for BYOB, weekly discounts for seniors, and craft activities for kids.
It's a good atmosphere in here. It feels like that the people, you know, like a family, and I think this is the way it should feel, the way you come. You don't have no tension, you don't feel no tension, no stress. It's like you coming here to relax, but it's a laundromat.
And with the pop-up running until October, the business partners, who are also life partners, say they're optimistic about its longevity, no matter the location.
This journey, especially being together in marriage, has turned us into integrity-based, in my opinion, because that's really want to bring something warm, fuzzy, and beautiful to the neighborhood, to people, because that's what we want in our relationship.
How long have you guys been married or together?
It's been about 40 years. No. How many years? 12
We've been
years.
married for 12 years.
35.
We have been married 12 years.
No, but it's felt like 40. It felt like about 40, though, you know.
So that's how we're doing in business.
Yeah, that's how we're doing in business.
For Chicago Tonight Black Voices, I'm Angel Ito.
He said it felt like 40 years. You can purchase Denobi detergent in the local products section at Mariano's, as well as select stores in Hyde Park, including the Silver Room, Bon Santé Health Foods, and, of course, Dirty Laundry. And that's our show for tonight. Be sure to check out our website, WTTW.com/news, for the very latest from WTTW News. And if you're watching us on Friday night, know that you can also catch Black Voices and Latino Voices on Saturdays beginning at 6 p.m. And be sure to join me this Monday at noon for our next virtual Chicago Tonight Voices community conversation. We'll be discussing public safety and the impact of systemic violence on everyday life. Again, that's Monday, July 31st at noon. To RSVP, you can visit WTTW.com/events. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight Black Voices, I'm Brandis Friedman. Stay healthy and safe, and have a good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a personal injury law firm pleased to give back to the community through numerous charitable initiatives.